We are in the second line of gate 6. This is called the Guerilla, and it's the Guerilla that's the sort of the warfare Guerilla rather than the Guerilla. That's all you're getting. When we get to the second line of the 6th gate, we get to the projection, of course. The wave in this line is of advance and withdrawal. The 6 is always looking to the 59 that's at the other end, the genetic roles that are being played out on the other end of the channel. Second line is not introspective. It's not looking into the relationship at all. It's not looking into the nature of intimacy. It's not looking at weakness and strength. This is the kind of kamikaze. It's either going into full advance or it's racing back out in full withdrawal, one or the other. And that wave is going to operate, remember, on either side of the line. The second line doesn't know it's particularly emotional. It doesn't know that it's in charge of intimacy. The emotional system is where we get the words guilt, blame, and shame. We've discovered that a little bit when we were looking at that mental stream. These are emotionally charged words. And our second line doesn't know any of that. It has to be introduced to that. It's to be called out into that. When you're in the lower trigram lines, social channels don't function terribly well. The other is always a bit of a surprise. You're caught off guard. The 6-2 is in resonance to the 59-2, which is called shyness, where you're caught off guard. You're in your own place, you're in your own room, you're minding your own business, humming along on your motor, and all of a sudden, someone is knocking at your window. There's a lifetime learning here. It says the ability to maximize an inferior position through timely contact and withdrawal. So you can see this wave of advance and withdrawal. It's already built into the nature of this line, and it's something that has to be learned. All these lines that are before the exalted are life processes. They are not automatic functioning aspects of the design. The second line has to learn timely contact and withdrawal. If somebody pulls you out, then you go back in. You don't stay out there for long. You're not designed for it. In the exaltation, we have aesthetic sensitivity and mental detail can find the weakest point. The sensitivity to find the weakest point in the conflict and exploit it emotionally. So the moment that you knock on the window of any second line in the solar plexus gates, you're going to get the wave. At some point on that wave, you're going to get an expression of it. Every emotional person has a place in their wave that is going to drive somebody somewhere completely nuts. And it doesn't have to be the down part. Sometimes just being up on your wave and being really exuberant about life can really piss people off. Well, speak from experience. The detriment, says the kamikaze, striking but moot, a lack of sensitivity that blunders into conflict. These people that lunge into relationships like there's no tomorrow. They've taken their oath to the emperor and they dive into their relationships aiming for the heart, and they often crash violently. The blunder bit, it kind of indicates that it's not their fault. They're not to blame. They do tend to get all kinds of blame. Ra said that you're never going to meet a 6th line who hasn't got a backpack filled with all kinds of blame stuffed in there. Whether their emotional system is defined or not because they have the gate out of which the motor originates. So the moment that you hook up their emotional system, you can feel it. They have a powerful wave effect on anyone, and they can just blunder around in that sense. They can unknowingly release the power of that wave because somebody knocks on their window at the wrong time and they just burn them up. The difficulty with the 6-2 is that it is always either advancing or withdrawing without really grasping the nature of intimacy. It can be a very difficult line, like most second lines, really, all second lines. The 36-2, the grounding, is called support. the Guerilla could do with a bit of support, you know, as it's advancing and withdrawing. It may need some education as it learns about its introduction lines, learning some discernment, something that all second lines can benefit from. So you remember that we are in a 2-line, we're in a second line day, but we're in a 2-sun day as well. So this is the second line today. I'm not explaining that terribly well, am I? I hope you know what I mean. So we've already had a moon today. Oh, carry on. So currently the moon is in gate 49 still. This is the gate of principles. It's also called the gate of sacrifice. This is another aspect to it. You know, it has the principles and the sacrifice. It has a fear of rejection. Perhaps it holds the wrong principles, or it sacrifices the wrong person. You know, and then the tribe don't respond terribly well. They withdraw their support. Maybe the act of sacrifice incites a revolution. These are themes that we can look at through the moon. They can be very personal as well. You know, it's not necessarily global themes that we're looking at. You can play around with applying these in your day-to-day life. If this is an exploration that interests you, just take these keynotes and, you know, play, see what happens. Gate 30 is next and last today, the gate of feelings. This is where the moon lands at 1:43 tomorrow morning. This is another solar plexus gate. This is collective circuitry, which indicates that feelings are to be shared. This is what the collective likes to do. Now, gate 30 is in the same awareness stream as our Earth gate 36. So there could be a little bit of extra focus on feelings while this transit is active. The keynote for this stream is experience. So it's not about expectations. You know, the human experiential way is never about expectation. Okay, that's it. So yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. And so for the rest of this transit, the sun, although I'll be doing the report in the morning and posting it in the morning, the sun is really at the other end of the day. So, you know, you can decide how you want to listen to it. You could listen in advance and see what happens, but yeah, I mean that's how it's gonna be until we get back into sync again. Okay, so I'll see you for the third line of gate 6 tomorrow, and until then, as always, go gently.